my name's Rose. I am a forager who has become a weaver, and I'm going to show you today how to make cordage out of plant materials. So you're going to need your dried plant materials, you're going to need a vessel to put some water in to soak it, and you're going to need some scissors. So let me show you step by step how to go from something like this to something that looks more like that. So the tray needs to be deep enough or long enough that you can put the materials in straight, so when they are brittle they're going to potentially snap. So this could be a bucket. I'm using a long tray so I can just lay them out and I can actually just leave my materials in here while I'm using them. But yeah, some materials are going to need to be soaked overnight, some of them are going to need a little bit less time, so it's really about learning about the material that you're using and just trying it out. When you forage your material depends on how the plant is growing and what time of year it is. So most of the things that I've got here have been foraged in the spring, and that's just because that's when they're the longest and the most kind of healthy plants. These are daffodil stems, these are daffodil leaves. This is sedge, which is a type of grass that I'm still drying, that I cut a couple of weeks ago, but these are all from the spring. So I generally dry these out, hang them up in my flat. Because I'm probably not going to use them for a little while, I just leave them until they're thoroughly dry. If you want to use them more quickly, you need to keep checking if they're completely dry. So once it's suitably soaked, I'm going to take one of these long ones and I'm going to start to twist it at the top, and I'm just going to make a little loop over the top with my fingers, and then I'm going to take both ends of the stem, I'm going to twist it towards myself, and then I'm going to pull the other one underneath it so that it ends up on the top. And so I'm twisting away from myself, pulling it towards myself, and then swapping it with the other one. They're both twisting in the same direction, and because they're twisting over each other, they're creating a tension that's kind of locking against each other. So that's what stops it coming apart. You're twisting the whole thing over as well as you're pulling the one from underneath. So you're creating a lot of tension, which is keeping the fibres together. You're going to let go of that eventually as you go down the fibres. You might want to attach it to something if you're going to be doing a long one, but I tend to just hold it in my other hand and just let it go through as I keep going. Because I'm working with one stem, inevitably it's not going to be the same length. The top of the stem of the daffodil is more narrow and it's thicker at the bottom. So what's going to happen is you're going to end up with one that's thinner than the other, and to prevent it from you getting kind of like non-uniform thickness, you want to make sure you're incorporating the thicker ends with the thinner ends. So I'm going to now add another piece of material. The reason we want to work with stems that are as long as possible is because you're going to get less weaknesses along the cordage, because you're going to have less points where you need to incorporate a new piece of material. We want to leave a little bit sticking out, and we want to have the bit that we're incorporating it onto at the top. Well, that's how I do it. Then we're going to take the thicker bit, hold it along the thinner bit at the top, and you're just going to twist it until it's twisted into the rest of it. And then you can see, as long as you hold it tight, it will start to incorporate into it. And you want to make sure you do that really, really tight, because when it dries, the tension's going to change, and you could, if you haven't done it tight enough, you might find that bit gets really, really loose. So these bits you're just going to leave until you've finished your material and it's all dry, and then you can cut them off. This is done when it's done. If you just want to have a length of twine that you can turn into a friendship bracelet or use it to wrap a present for someone. When I want to stop, I just cut it off and let it dry. But my intention with these is to decorate baskets, maybe add some decorative kind of loops at the top of baskets, or even a handle. Start to kind of look for different materials in your environment. So probably the best time to do that is in the spring when you start to see dandelion stalks, you're going to notice just how long some of them get, or plantain as well. Like, those are the best things to start with. Or nettle, like if you can get a pair of gloves and get a new green stem of nettle that's sprung out of the ground, that's really good to use as well. Flax and hemp are really, really strong, but some of the materials I'm using are a bit more brittle, and I've chosen them because the colours are so beautiful. So I'm using them more for kind of making things look nice. So just start experimenting, and if you have any questions about what plants to use or how to get the right tension, just get in touch with us and show us what you make.